you and me being here heart to heart and sharing
Right.
just like that, and
Yes.
getting to know each other
Yes. Heart to heart.
heart to heart, and like what you were saying, it's heart to heart. When we are heart to heart, it's not
Mhm.
only our physical being here, no, it's really the higher being, our higher
Yes.
self, that it's
Yes.
we are allowing to flow the energies through us, and
Yes.
not limiting it with the what the mind is saying. What, oh, shall I say this? Shall I say that? Can I say it? No, no.
Exactly. Exactly. And that reminds me, I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry, but I'm actually going to be meeting with her. The woman,
Vicky,
Jenny,
oh, Jenny, no,
yes,
Jenny.
Calzone. I don't know how to, but that's what came through so much in
Yes,
your
she's beautiful.
conversation with her. Oh, she's beautiful. We're going to
Beautiful,
connect.
beautiful. Yes,
Yes, we set up a Zoom, but that was what spoke to me so much, is just what you just said, that there is that it's heart to heart and person to
yeah,
person, but it's that which is greater than us as well. And not everybody talks about that, Jeannette, you know?
no,
I mean, that's why I was so looking forward to this. It's a rare but I want to find more of those conversations too. You know, it's like I find that lots of conversations come into my stream on LinkedIn, and it's my only platform because
like
that's
mine.
where, oh really? That's where
Mm-hmm.
my women are, that's where my authors are, that's where my people are,
Yes,
bottom line,
yes,
and
yes.
as I meet more and more people, I find myself, especially lately, I feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make a decision to lean away from certain kind of conversations that I've
Yeah,
been seeing, because it's not where I want to put my energy, and
yeah,
it's a choice. It really comes down to a choice. Where do we want to put our energy? And
yes.
I just felt so strongly about you, like right from the very
Um,
start. It even came through just from the words, like there's energy just in comments, and I don't mean just like that's the
uh-huh.
point. And you're like, where are you? You're in Spain, right? Or is
Yes,
it
I am.
Italy? Yes,
No,
Spain.
I'm Spain.
And
Yes, yes, yes,
right. So there you are, right? It's like we're across the ocean,
yes.
and it's like 5 o'clock for you and 11 o'clock for me. But you see, this is where I get like I could cry right now, because it's so, time and space don't exist, when it comes to love
Yes,
and
yes,
deep connection. And
yeah.
I just, that's what it's about for me.
Yes, yes. It's when we connect like this, it's like I'm sitting in front of you in your space, and let's say space, and where you are, or you are here with me. So it really doesn't matter where we are, no? We're connected heart to heart, and it feels very, very close when we let our heart be open, like who we are,
Yes.
not blocking anything with the mind, just being, flowing, connecting, being the present, sharing with you.
Yes,
And
it Zoom is totally fine, because
yes,
the point, it doesn't matter.
no,
Time and space do not exist
no,
when it comes to the oneness,
yes,
that connection.
yes.
So it's so beautiful.
It's very nice. And it is to experience, no? Because I can say it so many times, but if you don't experience it, you really don't know the potential of it. I don't know, this oneness, this, like you were saying before, it's love, no? It's love and love, it's connection, it's oneness. You and me, we are the same. Because if we feel it, I feel it. And I'm sharing with you, and I'm sharing with you from the heart, and I see your beauty, I see your potential, I see your essence, I see more than what I see. because I don't see
Totally.
with the eyes, I see with the heart.
Oh, yes, it's so
No?
beautiful. And that's why the words are just as good anyway. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like it just always came through, even back in December. I don't know how whatever it was,
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
perfect, you know. But I know. It's rare. And we have to make our choices
Mm-hmm.
about where we want to be or live or put our
Mm-hmm.
energies. It's choice. It's
Yes.
always choice, you know?
Always. Always
And
choice.
even the journey itself. I mean, for myself, it's not an easy journey. For me, the journey, it's about letting go, you know,
Mm-hmm.
letting
Mm-hmm.
go of what we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm reminded again from the conversation with Jenny about, and I think you just brought it up before, about who are we really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of words for it: personal self, ego, lower self. Again, those are just concepts anyway, but in the experience of it, that's what we have to let go of, or at least for me. I don't want to say
Yeah.
what's right for anybody else, but
Yeah.
we each have to find our way, you know,
Yes.
like what are we here for? What is this about? What does this really
Mm-hmm.
mean? And what is all this, you know? And here we are.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this, it's almost like just this connection with you right now, to me, is what it means. Like I come back to this. This is the reason. It's so deep, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's
Yes. I
so,
feel it. I know it.
and you could miss it easily. Anybody, you know, get caught up in whatever. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm talking too much.
You're not. You're not. I love it. I really love it, and I love your words, and you write so beautifully. Also, you're,
Oh,
you're a writer,
thank
but
you.
in my communications with you, they're so intense, so love, mm, yeah, so loving, you know. So
Yeah.
I was looking forward to meet with you, and yes, and
Isn't it
it's
great to trust that we
yeah,
can trust in that,
yes,
you know?
yes. It's knowing that when I meet you, I will fall in love with you because I am you, you are me, the connection. So there's no wall or anything in the middle. There's just two people, two higher selves, to whatever, reconnecting
Reconnected.
no, reconnecting and just being and flowing and enjoying the time together and being in the present, sharing and
Yes.
growing together.
Yes. And from that stance, we can talk about anything, you
Mm-hmm.
know? It's like
Mm-hmm.
whatever, like where the conversation goes. But I will say that I so am appreciative of your energy that you put out there and creating this podcast, and you're living it, you know. You're so thank you, because
Thank
you're
you.
bringing this to the world, and it's so needed, you know. Like I'm with you, you know. I'm going where you're going.
And I'm going where you are going. But many times I'm being asked, why do you co-create? What what is it about co-creating conversations? What message are you putting out to the world? Why do you do that? No, because the marketing or whatever. I'm asked, co-creating conversation, and what's, you don't even have a topic, no? And I say, well, one thing I say is what we were saying. You have to experience it to know what it is. No,
People say that to you, that you don't have a
people ask
topic?
me. No,
Wow.
people ask me, why. What do you do? Co-creating conversation. What's the goal of doing that? What's the topic? You have to have a topic. No? And when you do this, and I say, no, co-creation is about really being in the moment, and co-creating a conversation. I don't know where it's going, but it's powerful because there's always a message. I don't know what the message will be, but it's really sharing that, and well, sharing my being, and sharing it with you, and together co-creating something that I always know and see and observe that there's a message behind for anyone, no, for
Right.
someone, let's say for
Yeah,
someone.
well, we could play with that a little, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
what the message is. But it's beyond the thinking. In other words, when
Mm-hmm.
people want the topic that's in the head, that's you know, whatever, it could be a lot. It could be fear, you know, what are we going to talk about? I have
Yeah.
to prepare. I mean, it's concepts. And oh, this is what I was going to say before, is that what you were just sharing is that it's the experience
Mm-hmm.
that we're talking about. It's being in the experience.
Yes.
That is the message, or part of
Yeah.
it, you
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like you were saying, when you listen to these conversations, there's an energy. No?
yes.
There's energy that, because you and me, we are connecting, and we are connecting with whoever is going to listen. But to you and me, we are here together. We don't care who's going to listen.
No.
It does matter to us because we appreciate and respect the time of everyone. But when you and me are here, we are here for ourselves in this moment in time.
Right. And who knows what else? But it's a matter of trusting some
Mm-hmm.
sort of, I believe there's some kind of divine orchestration that I could not possibly
No,
understand in my mind. It's not even a topic. We could
no,
discuss it, we can use words, but and it's the energy, getting back to
yes.
that. And again, that's another reason why immediately I was drawn to, because I heard you say that. Um, you know, I've been on a spiritual path. That's the word I use.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's my path.
Yeah.
And the deeper I go, the deeper I understand, or I experience that it's energy. We're talking about the energy. And
Yeah.
I actually have a teacher that I've been following for many years. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but his name is Michael Singer.
Uh-huh. Michael
And oh,
Singer. Look,
yeah,
let's show you something. I have it here.
I'm not surprised. I know,
Michael
I
Singer.
know. Yeah, want to hear a funny thing about Michael Singer? So about 30 years ago, as I was getting more connected to my spiritual self, and I started getting into yoga and meditation, and I always knew there was more to me than my physical self, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't something I, thought about very much. As a matter of fact, the first book that I wrote is called Your Heart Knows the Answer. It's a self-help, how to trust yourself and make the choices that are right to you. And I discussed that
You
very
have that.
thing. I always knew that I was different than everybody else, but not better or worse. And just
Mm.
that there was a part of me that goes beyond the physical self. But anyway, it was not something, it wasn't a conscious path.
Mm-hmm.
It was just something I knew. And so I grew up in New York City, and I was working for McGraw-Hill at the
Yeah.
time. I was an advertising copywriter before I became an author. As a matter of fact, I always was a writer, but up until I wrote that first book that I just mentioned, I never even dawned on me. Like, people would say, "Oh, I have that book in me." No, nothing like that. But anyway, so I was working at different ad agencies, and that was like so cutthroat. I knew that wasn't for me. So I switched to the corporate side, and I was
Mm-hmm.
working for McGraw-Hill. But all that to say is they were going through some changes. So I got them to lay me off, and I moved into a yoga ashram for 2
Uh-huh.
years.
Oh,
I
oh.
had, yeah, I had just really started getting into yoga and meditation. And it was the first time I heard that term, witness consciousness,
Uh-huh.
you know, and I heard that and I was like, I'm going. And so the guru or the head teacher there, his name was Gurudev. He was the one that mentioned it. So I moved into the ashram, and one day Mickey Singer, that he calls
Uh-huh.
himself Mickey, even though
Oh,
everything
yeah,
is
yeah.
Michael, but Mickey Singer came to teach all the residents there about energy, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was really deep and profound. And he talked about, I don't know if like samskaras, that's a Sanskrit word, but how when we uh when something painful happens to
Yeah.
us and we don't allow ourselves to experience it so that we can let
Mm-hmm.
it go, that
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
stays in there. And that's what the
Yes.
wounds are. And even psychology talks about it. I mean, he quotes Freud and Skinner all the time, only Skinner says that we are the sum of our experiences. But no, yoga says that we are the one that notices that our ego is the
Mm-hmm.
sum of our learning experience. So
Mm-hmm.
we are the noticer.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
The observer.
Anyway, so he stayed with me. I remember like he said that word samskara, and it just like forever stayed with me. Then I moved out of the ashram. It was a temporary thing. Actually, the place fell apart while
Ah.
I was living there
Oh.
because it came out that Gurudev was
Yeah.
sleeping with,
Ah.
you know, typical things that happen. Anyway, I went on and I lived my life, and I actually had another spiritual guide for a while because this is important to me, you know, and it was this other teacher it was all come together. I mean, the thing that I love so much about Mickey Singer is that he brings all the disciplines
Yes.
and show how it's the one truth, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
you know, like Buddha
Mm-hmm.
and Taoism
Mm-hmm.
and Christianity. You
Yes.
know, he's always talking about how like Jesus was a yogi
Yeah.
to the yogis. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's the
Yeah.
same one
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went on and I lived my life and I worked with this other teacher and blah blah blah, and I got married and did this and the other thing. And I actually was decided that not this presidential election, but the one before, I live in Massachusetts, and so
Uh-huh.
I became a member for Marianne Williamson because she really speaks of love and how politics really is love. And I know the world isn't ready for that yet, but I decided that I was going to campaign for her, and I
Uh-huh.
did. And I met a woman who lives in Seattle, and we connected deeply. And she said to me, I just watched this 8 tape, you know, 8 session video, and I think this would really, really speak to you. And it's somebody named Michael Singer. And I knew him as Mickey because
Yeah.
because he called himself Mickey. If you listen to him, so I was like, Michael Singer, wait, that rings a bell. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, it's Mickey Singer. And so it was right when COVID started.
Mm-hmm.
And so 4 years ago, just about, it was like he came back into my life. And from that day forward, I, it's just, he really is my teacher. Like when you find somebody that's so
Yeah.
wise, you follow,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just been this amazing thing. And he's such a loving man and wise man. And so he has a website, Temple of the Universe, because that's what he has, a Temple of the Universe
Mm-hmm.
in Florida, and
Yeah.
anybody could come from all denominations. I mean, it's the oneness, you know.
It's
I
oneness. Yeah.
mean,
I feel it.
that's what drew me to the ashram in the first place. But he has 3 days a week. his weekly talks as Monday evening, Thursday evening, and Saturday evening. And I am just transforming. I mean, it's like, and it's about the energy. When it
Yes.
comes down to it, I know a lot of people don't understand that, and that's okay. But
That's
for
okay.
me, it's a good way to let go,
Mm-hmm.
to understand. So anyway, that was a
No,
long-winded.
no, no. I love it because I talk a lot about open heart, no, through experience, opening your heart, opening your heart. And the other day, I have many books to read because I love to reading. So, and I read many at the same time. But the other day, I took this book, no, and I said, let me read it a little bit. I start reading, and it was so beautifully explaining the open heart.
Are you talking about The Untethered
The-
Soul?
yeah,
Oh my God.
and
That
it
just happened?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
and it so beautifully explains it, and what you were saying, you know, how the experiences that we have in life, or things that happen to us, how we close our heart, and that's how we create blockages and everything. But it's so nice because before I wasn't able to explain to someone what it is to be an open heart. No?
before reading his book?
Before, yeah, I experience it. I know what is open in the heart because I do it consciously and my heart is open all the time. But to explain to someone that hasn't experienced it, what it really means,
Right.
or
You
well,
can't.
everyone experienced the open heart, but let's say that hasn't, is not conscious of opening and closing the heart. It has been very nice and very interesting in these times to get this information and to I was reading and say yes, that's it. It's super logical and yes, sounds very very true. It's true. So that I can explain to people.
Are you saying that it was through reading his book that you got more clear on the open-heartedness, or?
No, it's I got clear on how to explain it to other people.
Oh, that's great because you're doing, excuse me, you're doing a good job with that. And that's exactly what I wanted to say to you is that you have found a way to explain it to people. And I want to learn from that because it's good. It's good. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, in my way, no, but he has a different way to explain it. But in my way, yes, the way I sit down and I'm here with you and we are co-creating, it's really heart to heart, open-hearted, no? And and it's nice to have different ways of being able to explain it. When you know, when I'm not able to explain it my way, or when someone doesn't understand it, that I have other ways of saying it a little bit more logical, like
Okay.
Michael
Like
explains
like what?
logic, uh,
Like what when you say more logical?
like how he explains it. No, he says we all were born, we have the capacity to open our hearts, and we close our hearts when we get in fear or when no, but and it is up to us to practice to keep our heart open, no,
Hmm.
so to be aware of what's happening in outside, well, inside of us, no, through our observer, no, through seeing, okay, I'm closing now, I feel my heart closed because this has happened to me, let me open it again, no, and practice. And it's what I call when I say explore, experience, and practice, no, it's this seeing what's happening inside of you, how you get
Yes.
triggered and all those things, no?
Right.
So,
And that was the second conversation. I'm so sorry I don't remember the names, but
oh no,
last,
no.
yeah, last conversation too, that you were discussing that. And so through your languaging of how you put that together, that's what brought me to you. And if I may be so vulnerable to say, is that I've been looking for languaging, I think, because what speaks to me, communication is important and the message is important. And I've been maybe struggling a little bit with how to talk about this. And I feel that you've really come upon a really, really good way. I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
the heart and heart-centered. It's very simple, but it's brilliant because
Thank you.
it's, I don't know why, it is what it is.
Thank
Yeah.
you so
No,
much,
good
Gail.
job. Good
No,
job.
no, thank you.
You're doing
Thank you.
great. It was really great learning a bit about you and your work and what you do. That was in the first interview with Jenny, I think. Well, maybe both, but how you work with so many people, and in one of the interviews you shared about um having to deal with was it annual review or laying
Ah,
people
yeah,
off, or
yeah,
is that, yeah,
yeah.
I was
The
really,
annual reviews, appraisals. Oof,
yeah.
I was very nervous with that one last month. Yes.
But you shared about how that process worked for you, and you did a really good job explaining it. So that's what I
Ah,
mean.
thank you.
It's really working, you're languaging, and
Ah,
I,
thank you.
you have a beautiful message getting out there. Like, I can learn from you in terms,
Ah,
and
thank
I'm the
you.
writer, but so what? It's like it's the languaging that can speak to people. And I've been dwelling on that, thinking about that, because there's so many conversations out there. And again, as I said, we have to choose where we want to put our energy, but we also have to, when we choose, well, how do we want to talk about this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. I appreciate a lot, really, because I'm just being, and I don't know it flow. I'm being, and it flows, and whatever flows, the way it flows, and I
That's the
appreciate a lot.
energy again.
Yes, yes, and I appreciate a lot saying what you say, because then, besides me being nurtured with these conversations, because of being here and connecting heart to heart, I appreciate a lot that it somehow also nurtures other ones as it nurtures me.
Yes, it can't not,
Yeah,
because we're all the same, I mean, like, this is why I'm a memoirist, why I'm a
yeah.
women's memoirist, because of the healing, universal healing nature of storytelling, because we're all so much more alike than we are different. Yes, our particular experiences are different,
Mm-hmm.
but what did we come here to learn? Why are we here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Mickey Singer, he always says, Earth is a place where souls have come to evolve. Now, that isn't necessarily the languaging that may go over, in a very meaningful way, but I think that's true, that we're
Mm-hmm.
here to, how could we say it? We're here to explore and express that our inner selves and
Yes.
our heart connection, which is what connects each of us to everybody else, and that it's an internal process, not a process of the mind or of figuring out, or an external process. How am I doing? That's
It-
funny. Yeah, but what are we here for? I think
yes.
we're all here to learn similar things, and
Yes.
again, we may use different languaging, but what is love? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I here? How am I connected? What does it mean to be a parent? What does it
Yes.
mean to connect with people? And um, through storytelling, we can come to see the connection that we're all here for the same thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
experience love,
Yes.
and
To
we
be
could
loved.
express it, to be loved, yes. And we could express it in different ways and use words differently, but we're mirrors for each other, which is what
Yes.
you've been saying at the very beginning. I believe that, you know, and
Yes.
I'm experiencing it right now with you.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes. Me too. Really, I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want to talk about now?
No, I was going to ask about, because you just mentioned what you do, that you write memoirs,
Yes.
woman
Mhm.
memoirs. What brought you to write that? How in your, what you were saying, that in your journey from New York, then the shamans and them. So what brought you to write memoirs?
What brought me to
Yeah.
it is that um well, I mentioned that first book a little while
Mm-hmm.
ago that I
Mm-hmm.
wrote, Your Heart Knows the Answer. It's a self-help book, how to trust yourself and make the choices that are right for you. And
Yeah.
it was when that it came to me at that certain point in my life that I realized I can't not write this book. It was
Mm-hmm.
just, but
Yes.
it wasn't something like I said all along my whole life. Oh, I'm gonna,
No.
nothing, nothing. But it was my own journey, uh, you know, self-realization. And so I've always been very connected to my own inner knowing, which is that connection to that which is greater than ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't trust it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it would
Yeah.
come in so strong. I was always that way, but then I would doubt myself. And it's not that I think I'm different than anybody else. And I think I've done enough self exploration to maybe understand that in addition to just our patriarchal society that, you know, tells women we shouldn't trust ourselves. You know, I had a
Mm-hmm.
trauma when I
Mm-hmm.
was 14. My parents got divorced, and it was just very, very devastating for me. So, whatever the reasons are,
Yes.
at some point, it doesn't matter
Yes.
anymore, you know?
Mm.
But I like how they say you teach what you need to learn. And so that's what
Mm-hmm.
that book was for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was about women. It was for
Mm-hmm.
women. I mean, and it would apply for men too,
Yeah.
because it's really just, you know, self-help. So, but a lot of my own personal experience in there, but really helping people to distinguish between the voice, what I call the voice of the heart and the voice of the head. I mean, it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of profound truth there. I
Oh,
mean, I
yeah.
have grown a lot since, you know, since
Yeah.
since that time. But after that book came out, I just felt that I wanted to work with women, you know, like I would just saw. I think it's also political for me as well. Like things come together. I feel that now is the time for women. I think
Mm-hmm.
that with what's happening all around the world and in the United States for sure,
Mm-hmm.
with the overturning of Roe again, and I believe that women are going to heal the world. If we're going to be saved, it is going to be women. And not that I don't think men are wonderful. I have a wonderful husband, and I don't know if it's nature, nurture, but there's something about women that it's maybe more like our neural pathways or our emotions, whatever it is, but we're just much more connected to that inner wisdom and to creation and to love and to healing and to caring and to helping. And it's going to be us. And so it's like political for me as well. Like I felt that, and I've been a writer, and I wanted to use my skills,
Mm-hmm.
like that's my small contribution. Oh, I don't want to say small. See, I just did it. You fall into that. It's my gift
Yes.
to the world to
Yes.
help women to heal and tell their stories. That's what I can offer, you
Yeah,
know. And
nice.
I mean, it's interesting because I have experience with traditional publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I don't know how much you know about the publishing world, but it completely fell apart and come back together again with self-publishing, and
Mm.
anybody could write a book and publish a
Yeah.
book, and then self-publishing became, you know, at first like the larger publishers, for example, everybody put their nose down in terms of self-publishing. But then when they realized, oh,
Yeah.
there's, you know, a market here,
Yeah.
they started their own self-publishing arms. Like, for example, Simon and Schuster has Archway, and it's just changing daily.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even keep track of it. And there's a lot of scams out there. But I
Yeah.
realize it's like I had to go back and get my certification. That's what I'm pointing at, is that there was so much change that I went back and I got a master's level certification in ghostwriting so I could
Mm.
learn about that, more of those aspects about self-publishing, and also, you know, hone the craft. I mean, it wasn't geared toward
Yeah.
memoir per se, but it's the healing and storytelling for women and how that will help the world and families and friends, and it's what I can do, it's what I can offer, you know.
So
So
beautiful. Yeah, it's so
yeah,
nice. No, and also thinking of ghostwriting and the way you were now explaining, also in your writing, you are connecting with the essence of the person. No?
yes,
You
that's
are
exactly
really
right.
taking in all the essence to then express it with your
Which
writing. No?
right, which is me. That's exactly
Yeah,
me, you know.
yeah.
I'm about to start working with an author. I mean, it's about, we just have to sign on the dotted line, but everything is
Mm-hmm.
agreed. But you never, I mean, it
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah. We
but
never. Yeah,
right,
but
but it's so intimate. It's just, and I feel
yes.
myself, and I don't take on many projects at once because that's, for me, I
Mm-hmm.
completely immerse myself
Mm-hmm.
in the life of that person with my industry
Yeah, yeah,
expertise
yeah,
hat
yeah.
on, and the storytelling. But yeah, that's another aspect of it for me because it's so intimate. It's
Yes.
like that you have to really, the trust that you have to develop with the
Mm-hmm.
author,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, help them connect the dots in ways they may not have seen before,
Mm-hmm.
or help them to possibly focus a little bit differently,
Yeah.
no matter where anybody is when they begin writing their memoir. And you have to be ready. So obviously there's a certain amount of self-awareness or
Mm.
healing that has taken place. And then there's also, you know, usually, I don't want to say always, but that desire to share our stories because we feel we can help somebody else. So
Mm-hmm.
there's the
Yes.
oneness right there.
Yes.
There's that connection, you know.
Yes.
And so, you know, some ghostwriters will crank them out and do 3, 4 at a time. I mean, I feel fortunate that I don't have to do that at this point in
Yeah.
my life. I completely immerse myself in with, you
Yeah.
know, the experience, and there is something very powerful and humbling
Mm-hmm.
to for the author to let the writing process take her where it needs to go.
Yes.
And so I feel like I have this healing hand in a way because
Mm-hmm.
of who I am and everything that we've been talking
Yes.
about. And the writing comes to me as kind of a gift. You know, we all have our gifts. And yeah, I guess that answers your question
Yeah, yes.
probably.
No, it's beautiful. And I keep thinking when you were saying, I keep feeling the it's co-creation because it's
Total.
because you are not giving up yourself. You're just saying you're still connected. You are who you are, and you are understanding and feeling the essence of the other person. The other person, it's the woman is herself still in wholeness to be able to give you what she is for you to write. So it's a beautiful co-creation, because
It is.
co-creation is wholeness, and wholeness exponential, whatever it comes out.
You got it. I feel
Yeah.
like the blessed person alive to be able
Yes.
to offer this, you know. It's, and of course, I mean, the first rule in ghostwriting is
Mhm.
it's not my book. It's not my
Mm.
book. You have to, the first thing you have to do is
Mhm.
get yourself off that page. So like, and that's not always so easy to
No,
do,
it's
you
not
know,
easy.
you
No.
know, and so
Yeah.
that's a real a very important aspect of it, that what is her story, you know. And so with the writing process, the first draft when it's written, the purpose of the first draft is to make sure that the author has shared the story that she wants to share,
Mhm.
and that it's in her voice.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then once
Yeah.
that first draft is done, then I will take it and elevate it to a marketable literary property, you know,
Mhm.
something so that it will get the attention
Yeah.
you know, that it deserves in the marketplace. But
Wow.
yeah, it's keeping that observatory. It's like creative
Yeah.
analysis is what we learned about it in the ghostwriting training, keeping that creative distance in a way, but yet allowing the intimacy to bring out the best possible story, most marketable story that will be the most healing to the author and marketable and to others. Yes,
Yes.
I feel very blessed to be
Yes.
able to do this.
It's a
Yeah.
it's a beautiful journey, and very nurturing from both sides. Very,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah. It's
growing.
no
No?
mistake that I do this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just,
yeah. I love it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much, Gail, for being here. Really love you. Love your presence. Love your being, and I'm with you heart to heart. Thank you so much.
Oh, likewise. My pleasure.